Hello, everybody. I always like to do a spontaneous Facebook Live. Sometimes I do put up the time in which I'm going to actually be on. Then other time frames, I just like to go ahead and rip it. There's a lot of short-term leaders out there. A lot of them. And then you got a lot of patriots that's there for the long term. Now, yesterday I told people, because I believe a lot when I'm frustrated or at a moment where I need to put myself back in the right place. I always go back to the story of David and Goliath. And during that time period, I remember everything they said about Goliath. He was big and strong. He was somebody who could not be defeated. He had an ego up to here. And then you have David, who everybody called the underdog. The person who could not beat Goliath. The person who they said was going to be not only beat, but destroyed by Goliath. And then I say to myself, how did that work out? That's exactly why I bring the campaign. That's exactly why I'm not a politician. Because I make sure that when people look for leadership or encouragement and uplift, and also somebody who can go ahead and throw punches with the best of them, that's exactly why I bring to this. I bring the story, like I tell you, from the streets to the dinner table, all the way up to the boardroom where the CEOs and all those politicians like to hang out there. And I can tell you, each and every step of the way, I have taken the top, and like I said, I have burnt that bitch straight on down. And the reason why I use my type of language because nobody's going to tell me how to speak, how to talk, how to walk. I'm not going to be a puppet for the liberal media or for anybody's establishment. Now, my faith comes above all of that. I don't care how big somebody is, how good they look in a suit, how fancy they talk. To me, I like this and pay attention because I like to find out if it's going to be a short term or somebody who's going to be in the fight long term. When I bet, and not only candidates, but going to be something that they may be or it will not be, because there's a lot of pretenders, actors, celebrities out there trying to play politician. And a lot of people signing up to play the part. A lot of people trying to rehearse, get their act together. And then they go for the nice little judges and they flop. That's exactly what we keep sending up there to Richmond and to DC. And look at what our country has become at this time period. We've given up our constitutional rights, who we are, for those who don't even have the courage to handle not only a bad cold, but also be focused on people's lives that doesn't know much about politics. All they know is hard work. All they know is to go home and put food on the table for their families and provide. That's what they care about. And while politicians are there for the short term, to give short-term fixes, there are patriots out there that you see every day, that you walk past every single day. It should be the ones handling policy, but they're stuck there taking care of family. because that's what comes first to them. Now, to me personally, that's why I'm going to say this is about the short term of politicians and the long term of patriots and warriors. Those who are at the front lines every single time period, there's government trying to take over or overreach on people's rights. They are not there just for themselves. They are there for the generations that come before them and to be representatives of what their ancestors and those who have came before them have practiced and preached and put into them to continue moving forward and putting God and country and family first. Now, this is why I call it short term. Now, see, people could walk around and say they could be governor because they got a gun to their hip. That's all they got is gimmicks. That means, I guess a police officer could be governor. I guess law-abiding citizens that believe in the right to defend family and country from any enemy, foreign or domestic, can be governor or a politician. That means anybody who thinks they are armed can have what it takes to be there and take care of a nation or a state in crisis. No, it takes more. Because anybody could take any of that away if you let them. And that's exactly what the difference is between people who have been in a fight and in a battle and in a war than those who have only been there after it's over to pick at the bones. What's left behind is history and heritage of what it takes to make change that is cemented for the long term. Too often, people vote for what is short term. They can't defend a politician because a politician hasn't told them enough to be defended. But they go on blinded guidance that says this gimmick is what it takes to be a leader. See, many are called, few are chosen. Leaders don't have to be taught in class. Leadership comes from the heart and from the soul and the passion to stand against opposition no matter who they are. One of the things anybody can say about yesterday because of me, I told people, I said, you know what? I got a whole lot of opposition, but a whole lot of support. And people was coming at me back and forth, back and forth. I said, nobody else get into this thread. Nobody else get in this conversation. It's me against them. By myself. Let me see what their heart's at, because now they're taking on me directly. And I gave it to them. And the way I knew they were short term. Because when they asked me for proof, I provided proof. And once they couldn't take it, they decided to try to put me on community standards and report. And I said, that's exactly what you call short-term guidance. Because you can't handle the heat in the kitchen. But you can't represent who you support any better than that. And I know why. Because that person is not giving you anything else but the same speech, the same problems, the same results, just in different makeup and dressing. See, we lost the backbone here in America. We lost the coaches. They used to have us, when we act up, walk miles and miles home to make us remember to be respectful to those who have been there fighting for them every single day of their life. And that road is always bumpy. But at the end of it, the lessons that are taught is forever. We don't have that type of leadership in Richmond or DC. People, look at the farmers out here. Look at the U.S. military, all those soldiers. Look at the police officers, everybody on the front lines, those first responders. Those who walk around now masked. All of those people right now who don't know how they're going to put food on the table, but they keep doing it. And I say to myself, each and every day, God is showing you he comes first. Not the flesh, not what we want, not I. He overcomes all. That's why when I hear about this quote-unquote big name, this big fish, this swamp, this whatever, I got a God who has created the heaven and the earth. Why would I be worried about any man or anybody that says that I can't when God has always been saying I can? Anybody decides to do the research on me, they say he's not a fitter. If you think some few words is going to bother him, you must have him picked wrong. You must underestimate. And one thing I have learned over time, you do not underestimate somebody who can't be bought. You can't underestimate someone who is not corrupt. You can't underestimate someone who is not going to bend down to special interests that goes against America and Virginia. See, politicians can't talk like that because I don't know their language. All I know is every single rock that I've turned over, every toe that I stepped on, anybody who I pissed off or any victory I won, I always say God did it, not me. But so many people are ashamed to say it. More people are worrying about what the establishment and those neighbors around them think instead of thinking for self. The interpretation hasn't gotten clearer. Too many people are voting. Too many people are going to people for the necessary leadership during this time period. And that's why we are always going to get caught up with the trials and tribulations of not following God's word, God's plan, and God's promise. But when you go against it, this is what we got going on. We have a flood. This is what's happening. A flood of death. Because people were listening to man instead of listening to what God has been telling them every single day. I'm going to be with you each and every single day, even on your bad days. So that's why when I see people trying to say lieutenant governor, God didn't have lieutenant governor. Oh, you should for this person's seat. No, God didn't tell me to run for that person's seat. Oh, it should be 4 years. No, I said for me to come down. Because hell has decided to run over. And it takes people. It takes people remembering their faith, remembering their morals and values, remembering what makes America great, and also at the same time frame that is not going to be intimidated, is not going to back up or back down. You can't tell me you learned that by being a politician in Richmond and DC. That's where you got that from. No, you get that from the streets. You get that from walking out your door. You get that whenever somebody comes against you, and then you see the victory, not being paid, but by being in faith, not just hope, which too many copy and paste politicians try to sell. I'm not about just being there to be your celebrity. That's what some people want, because you can see when they talk, they looking for the angles in the camera. When they talk, they trying to make sure they just say the right thing. That's not being real with the American people. Telling it like it is. When I walk into a room, regardless of where I go, that my name rings bells. I know that because every time I walk in a room, I see a room full of lawyers. I see the very people that was telling me that they was on board to help, but they are showing me they're on board to fight. Every time, friend, I have walked in those rooms and walked out those rooms, respect. A person who knows what they are talking about and is ready to deal with the bullshit that come from any lawyer, aka some liars, aka politicians, aka I'm going to screw everybody over and I hope it stays in the room. And when I walk out that room, I don't give a damn. I tell the people exactly what them bastards is doing behind those doors. Because if you're going to fuck over America, if you're going to screw over the people, you better be able to walk out there and face them. Face to face, politician to people, politician to patriots. Now, you can say, oh, he doesn't use the proper language. Well, people use fancy language all the time, and guess what? Your pockets is hurt. Your property being taken. You can't go to church. They using fancy language, doing all of this. Martial law. At home orders. Telling you how much to buy. Limiting who you are and what you can get to take care of you and your family. They're using fancy language. Maybe my language makes you listen. But the thing is, it ain't about listening, it's about taking action. We have too many short-term politicians and long-term patriots. But we keep voting short-term politicians and leaving behind long-term patriots. Look at our veterans. Look at our military that's homeless out in the street. Look at those who have fought and died and bled for this country that have been left behind. That's exactly what I'm telling America and Virginia. I'm no longer leaving them behind. They coming first with me. Because too many people have talked that talk. Not enough has walked that walk. Not enough has sat at Hardee's to eat breakfast with the military and those veterans out there that tell their story to be preserved, but let you know we should always remember. To all of those at the gas, I'm trying to afford a little bit more gas just to make it another day to work. Those who are waitresses and those who serve the public and get paid for minimum wage or less, that still put a smile on their face and still make sure they ask you how are you doing, to brighten up your day, and you don't know what is going on with them in their lives. One of the things about me, I tell the story about where I go, how I walk, how I talk, who I meet, because these people deserve to be recognized. Politicians don't do that anymore because they're so busy trying to sell their next lobbyist or their next company and fund them. But look at America. All the hard workers are going broke. Who is talking about them? You talk about stimulus. The stimulus is going to debt collectors, where you was able to earn and not even need the debt. But nobody's talking about that because they figured they bought off America. Now the Patriots, they had state capitals saying we open. Virginia, Nevada, over the country. Denied. No way I built. That isn't just meant them, it's meant for their fans as well as those who hard work, those who maintain business traits that will fuel a generation after generation. And they was behind and those were responsible for getting their family. Plus the policy short term, Patriots long term, and they don't always wear suits. Some of them wear boots and jeans, and what they do is still continue to fight and fix the mess that politicians left behind. It's yourself. About the difference between the politician and the Patriots. And when you want to ask about where somebody was at during this fight, you may have not saw them because they was in the crowd freezing cold with getting rain on them. See, the politicians was in the building and walking out with an umbrella. They were shaking hands and trying to be celebrities and use it for their next fundraiser. The Patriots, rain, hail, sleet, or snow, they are out in the front lines. And they are not asking for recognition because you keep saying, hey, where is somebody at? Because they was there with the people. Not out in the open where you can easily find them around the elites. We know tyranny. We know slavery. We know corruption and oppression. You know what you're seeing and feeling it right now. Leadership is solid today, looking for everybody else to blame. Every leader that's blaming and making excuses for what is going on now in their state and blaming everybody else is not a fucking leader. Those who are taking responsibility, accountability, going to the areas that's hard hit. Too bad the first responders show up first while they show up after disaster. And then they say, we are looking to it. A patriot is saying, we are going to fix it. So when you ask me questions about what I'm going to do for you, and I answer, you send those same questions to those same politicians, those same celebrities, those same ones with the silver spoon that dining up lobbyists and special interest groups for their coffers, for their campaign. And you look at those grassroots and those who have been there and seen that bullshit over and over, time after again. Yeah, it gets real. You ask them those same questions, what you gonna get stuttering. You're gonna get the phrase, I'll look into it. It doesn't mean you're gonna do anything. It just says, oh, I heard you. You're gonna get Probably. Or maybe. I might. I will have somebody else check it over. Start saying to them, I'm not asking you to pass the buck. I'm not asking you to pass the responsibility. I voted for you to do a job. If you can't do it, I might as well vote for your secretary or your aide. When I decide to run, I'm the one being responsible and accountable, and I'm not going to blame or pass the buck to somebody else when America and Virginia needs me. Want to know me, find out about me, ask me the tough questions. Say, what are you going to do? You disagree, you have a right to disagree, because I protect the First Amendment. But others will have you blinded to it. Yesterday, I put videos about two-way being rich because one of somebody else's supporters said, where were you at during 2A? So I decided to show them where I was at during 2A. With the people, the politicians. Guess what? They can't handle that. But the same person they are supporting, the same person, claims to be 2A, claims to be 1A, claims to be about protecting their constitutional right, but you're violating my First Amendment right because I'm a person, not a politician. But where are you running from? So that's what I'm saying. Be careful of short-term politicians. Because if they can't handle me going up against them 1-on-1, 1-on-10, 1-on-20, 1-on-30, doesn't matter. If you can't walk in those shoes and take those tough questions, take those tough answers, and not wait for a teleprompter or a lawyer to prepare your script, you don't deserve to be governor. Period. So when people ask me what makes me different than other politicians, not only you can check my resume, I'm going to tell you face to face. I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do and not make excuses. If there's a saying, it's not a way, I'm going to find a way. Because for one, God has been finding me a way all throughout life, and he has never let me down. So that's exactly what I plan to do for Virginia. When you have leadership that goes to God and doesn't go to man first, guess what? Everybody will feel heaven. This is Merle Rutledge, your 2021 anti-politician. No longer business as usual Republican. The one who fires up opposition when he walks in the building and makes them supporters. You know why? Because they found somebody who's real to their core. You can't be real as everybody else telling you how to be fake. So Amanda Chase, Herring, Justin Fairfax, Governor Northam, all you politicians from the past, you have screwed up Virginia enough. You have played your games enough. Playtime is over. And that means you're going to have to go face to face with the wolf. What everybody told you, warned you about, and said, don't underestimate him. He's here now. The liberal media tried to destroy him. They failed because he went towards God over politics. And he is a patriot that's with the people on the ground, standing up for them. Not up there in D.C., not up there at the state capitol representing lobbyists. I do not need the state capitol police to walk me across the street. I'm not doing it. That's why I go where I want, when I want, how I want. Because the reason is because leadership is needed in the low-income community, in the middle-class community, and in the rich communities as well, because everybody knows one thing: family comes first. And that's what America is, the American family. And we start putting policies and we start addressing families instead of businesses and capitalists and the rest of them. Then you'll start seeing us grow and be better, less crime, less addiction, less depression, less mental illness. Because families grow businesses. Businesses grow prosperity. But God can shut all of that down if you go away from Him, no matter how big or how small you are. That's why Merle Rutledge made it this far in this race. So God bless America. God bless you. And then think on this. Are you with a short-term politician, or are you going to be with long-term patriots? Because after those fancy speeches that they give out for 3 to 5 minutes, the patriots are the ones who are continuing the fight when politicians ain't there. You don't believe me? Ask Hampton, ask Danville, ask Chesapeake, ask Amherst, ask Lynchburg, ask Brunswick County, ask Emporia. Ask all of those patriots, where are the politicians after they're gone? Patriots say, we aren't politicians. We still fight on. That's the difference. Good night.